And you thought I'd come out broke?
The Texas heat never really fades, even at midnight. I'm out in my driveway buffing the chrome on my F-150 when I hear Laura's voice drifting through our kitchen window. She thinks I can't hear her over the cicadas in my polishing cloth, but 20 years of marriage teaches you to listen for the wrong kind of whispers. He doesn't suspect a thing, Scott. He's too busy with his greasy little business to notice what's right in front of him. Her laugh cuts through the humid air like a rusty blade. You're the only man who knows how to treat me right. Soon, I'll have everything I deserve. I freeze, cloth in hand, staring at my reflection in the truck's paint job. Jason Fairburn, 43 years old, owner of Fairburn Auto Detailing, husband to Laura Staples Fairburn, Esquire. Or at least I was 5 minutes ago. Texas suburbs are funny places. The lawns are fake, the smile's faker, and apparently the marriages are the fakest of all. Our neighborhood, Willowbrook Estates, is the kind of place where everyone drives luxury cars but complains about property taxes. Where soccer moms drink wine at 10 in the morning and call it self-care. Where my wife, the ambitious family law attorney, can plot my destruction while I'm 30 feet away, covered in car wax and ignorance. When are you filing? Scott's voice now, that smooth-talking bastard who runs those ridiculous life coaching seminars at the community center. I've seen his Tesla parked there during Laura's book club meetings that somehow never involve any books. Claire thinks we should wait until after I get access to the safe deposit box. Jason's father left him something valuable, and the old fool never bothered to check what it was. Probably thinks it's just sentimental garbage. My father's safe deposit box. The key's been sitting in my desk drawer for 3 years, since Dad passed. Never seemed important enough to drive downtown and deal with bank paperwork. Guess I was wrong about that, too. I set down my cloth and walked toward the house, boots crunching on the gravel driveway. Mrs. Sanders, our nosy neighbor, is probably watching from behind her Ring doorbell camera, wondering why I'm moving like a man who just learned his life is a lie. Through the kitchen window, I can see Laura pacing, phone pressed to her ear, wearing that silk nightgown I bought her for Christmas. The irony tastes like battery acid. Trust me, Scott. By the time I'm done, he'll be lucky to keep his little garage. I've been documenting everything, his drinking, his temper, the way he ignores the girls. Claire says we can make a case for emotional neglect, maybe even financial misuse, since he controls the business accounts. Emotional neglect, financial misuse. The words hit me like a sledgehammer to the chest. I think about our daughters, Beth and Janie, asleep upstairs. Beth, 17 and sharp as her mother, already showing signs of Laura's entitlement. Janie, 15 and quieter, who still asks me to help with her math homework and laughs at my terrible dad jokes. I slip through the side door into my garage, my real sanctuary. This is where I built my business from nothing, where I turned a high school hobby into something that pays for Laura's law school loans and Beth's private tutoring and Janie's orthodontist bills. The walls are lined with detailing supplies, awards from car shows, and pictures of vehicles I've restored. My boxing bag hangs in the corner, next to the weight bench where I work out my frustrations instead of talking about them. Should have talked more, apparently. Laura's voice carries through the thin walls. He has no idea what's coming. By Christmas, I'll have the house, the business, and full custody. You and I can finally be together properly. Christmas, 2 months away. I grab a beer from the mini fridge and pop it open, foam spilling over my knuckles. The garage feels smaller suddenly, like the walls are closing in. 20 years of marriage, 2 kids, a business built from scratch, and she's planning to take it all while I polish chrome and pretend everything's fine. But here's the thing about being underestimated your whole life. People forget that quiet doesn't mean stupid. Laura sees a blue-collar guy who gets his hands dirty for a living. She doesn't see the man who built a client base of 300 regular customers through attention to detail and strategic thinking. She doesn't see the guy who negotiated supplier contracts and managed cash flow and turned a one-man operation into something that employs 6 people. She's about to learn the difference. I finish my beer and head back outside. Laura's off the phone now, probably heading to bed to dream about her new life with Scott the life coach. I resume polishing my truck, but now I'm planning instead of brooding. The first rule of auto detailing is preparation. You can't fix what's broken until you understand exactly how broken it is. Time to do some investigating. The next morning starts like any other. Laura's already gone to her law firm downtown. Beth's at school pretending to care about her senior year. and Janie's in the kitchen making herself cereal before catching the bus. I'm supposed to be at the shop by 8, but I've got more pressing business today. Dad, can you drive me to school? Janie asks, not looking up from her phone. Beth took the car and left me stranded. Again. Sure, sweetheart. Grab your backpack. The drive gives me a chance to study my younger daughter. She's got Laura's dark hair, but my brown eyes. And she inherited my tendency to think before speaking. Unlike Beth, who inherited Laura's gift for dramatic pronouncements and strategic selfishness. Is everything okay at home? I ask as we pull into the school parking lot. Janie finally looks up from her phone. Why wouldn't it be? Just checking. You know you can talk to me about anything, right? She gives me a look that's way too knowing for 15. I know, Dad. See you tonight. After dropping her off, I drive to the bank downtown. The safe deposit box is in the basement vault, all marble floors and hushed voices. The clerk, a young guy with nervous energy, leads me to box 247. Haven't seen you here before, he says, checking my ID against the signature card. This box has been here for, let me see, about 8 years. 8 years. Dad opened it when he got his cancer diagnosis, probably wanted to leave me something special. I slide my key into the lock, turn it, and lift the metal lid. Inside, a shoebox wrapped in plastic, along with a handwritten note in Dad's shaky cursive. Jason, these were your mother's favorite. Thought you should have them. Love, Dad. I unwrap the box carefully. Inside are dozens of chocolate candies, the expensive kind Mom used to buy for special occasions. They're covered in white mold now, completely inedible. But I understand what Dad meant. Mom died when I was 12, and these candies represent some of my happiest memories of her. Laura thinks there's treasure in here. She's going to be very disappointed. I rewrap the box, lock it back up, and head to my shop. Fairburn Auto Detailing sits on a corner lot near the interstate, close enough to catch highway traffic but far enough from downtown to keep the rent reasonable. My employees are already at work. Mike and Tony doing paint corrections in Bay 1, Sarah handling the front desk, and Carlos working on a full detail for Mrs. Patterson's Lexus. Boss, you've got 3 messages from that orthodontist or Diana Walsh, Sarah says, handing me pink message slips. She wants to schedule something for her daughter's car. Diana Walsh. I remember her from Janie's appointments, mid-30s, divorced, sharp sense of humor, and sharper business sense. She runs the most successful orthodontic practice in town, drives a pristine BMW, and always seems to be laughing about something. I call her back. Jason, thanks for returning my call. I was hoping you could work some magic on my daughter Matilda's Honda. She just got her license and immediately found every mud puddle in 3 counties. That's what teenagers do. When were you thinking? Actually, I was wondering if we could discuss it over coffee. I've been meaning to talk to you about something else, and I'd rather do it in person. Something in her tone makes me curious. Sure, when and where? How about that diner on Route 6, the one with the terrible coffee but excellent pie, say 1 o'clock? I'll be there. The diner's exactly as advertised. Coffee that could strip paint and apple pie that makes you forget you care. Diana's already in a corner booth when I arrive, looking professional in a blue dress that probably costs more than I make in a week. But she's not putting on airs, just stirring sugar into her terrible coffee and smiling like she's genuinely happy to see me. Thanks for meeting me, she says as I slide into the booth. I'll cut right to the chase. I know what Laura's planning. The coffee cup freezes halfway to my mouth. Excuse me? My practice handles a lot of families going through divorces. Word gets around the professional community, especially when one of the lawyers involved likes to brag about her strategy. Diana leans forward, lowering her voice. Claire Barnett was at the dental conference last week talking about how she's going to take some blue-collar husband to the cleaners. She mentioned your name specifically? The diner suddenly feels too warm. What exactly did she say? That Laura's been building a case for months. Financial records, testimony about your anger issues, plans to claim you've been hiding assets. Claire thinks it's going to be a slam dunk. I set down my coffee, mind racing. Why are you telling me this? Diana's smile turned sharp around the edges. Because I don't like bullies. And because Laura Staples tried to destroy my practice 3 years ago. What? I was dating her client's husband. After their separation, everything legal and above board. Laura filed a complaint with the state dental board, claiming I was providing substandard care to gain access to confidential information. Took me 6 months and $15,000 in legal fees to clear my name. The pieces clicked together. So this isn't just about helping me. This is about making sure Laura finally faces consequences for her actions. The question is, are you interested in fighting back, or are you going to roll over and let her take everything you've worked for? I think about last night, about Laura's voice floating through the kitchen window, about Scott's Tesla parked at the community center during book club meetings that don't involve books, about my daughters, my business, my father's moldy chocolates sitting in a safe deposit box downtown. What did you have in mind? Diana reaches into her purse and pulls out a small device that looks like a USB drive. Digital recorder, voice activated, 8 hours of memory, completely legal as long as you're recording conversations you're actually part of. You just happen to carry surveillance equipment? I have a teenage daughter and an ex-husband who thinks child support is optional. A girl learns to be prepared. She slides the device across the table. Laura's going to make mistakes, Jason. Overconfident people always do. The question is whether you'll be ready to catch them. I pocket the recorder. What else? Be smart about this. Don't do anything that could be used against you later. Don't lose your temper. Don't make threats. Don't give her any ammunition for her case. Just document everything and wait for her to hang herself with her own rope. Sounds like you've thought about this before. I've been thinking about it for 3 years. Dinah's smile is pure predator now. Laura picked the wrong people to mess with, both of us. We shake hands in the parking lot, and I drive back to my shop with a sense of purpose I haven't felt in months. Laura thinks she's playing chess while I'm playing checkers. Time to show her that I've been paying attention to the board all along. That evening, I'm in the garage when Laura comes home from work. She's in a good mood, humming while she sorts through the mail, probably thinking about her master plan. I activate Diana's recorder and walk into the kitchen. Good day at the office? I ask, opening a beer. Very good. Claire thinks we'll have everything wrapped up by the holidays. Laura doesn't even look up from the electric bill. Oh, I need you to sign some papers tomorrow. Just routine stuff for the business accounts. What kind of papers? Nothing important. Claire wants to make sure all our assets are properly documented for tax purposes. Tax purposes, right. I take a long drink of beer and watch my wife of 20 years lie to my face with the casual ease of a professional. The recorder in my pocket captures every word. By the way, Laura continues, I'm going to need the key to your father's safe deposit box. I want to make sure everything's properly inventoried for the estate. Sure, yeah, I say. I'll get it for you tomorrow. Laura finally looks up, surprised by my cooperation. Really? I thought you'd make a big deal about it. Why would I? If Dad left something valuable, we should know about it. She smiles, the same smile that made me fall in love with her in college, back when I thought it was genuine. I'm glad you're being reasonable about this, Jason. Change is hard, but sometimes it's necessary. Change is hard. I couldn't agree more. The next morning, I hand Laura the safe deposit box key over breakfast. She tries to hide her excitement, but I can see it in the way her fingers close around the metal, like she's holding a winning lottery ticket. I'll probably go by the bank this afternoon, and she says casually, get this estate stuff sorted out. Take your time, I reply, buttering my toast. I'll be at the shop most of the day anyway. Beth comes downstairs wearing an outfit that probably costs more than my employees make in a day. She's always been Laura's daughter, more than mine. Sharp and ambitious and completely convinced that the world owes her something special. Dad, I need $500 for the senior trip deposit, she announces, not asking. That's not until spring. Why do you need the deposit now? Because everyone else is paying theirs, and I don't want to be left out. She gives me the look she inherited from her mother, the one that suggests I'm being unreasonable for questioning her. We'll talk about it later, I say. God, you're so cheap. Mom, can you just pay it? Laura glances between us, calculating. We'll figure something out, honey. Don't worry about your father's penny pinching. Penny pinching. 20 years of building a business, paying for private schools and dance lessons and family vacations, and I'm penny pinching because I won't immediately fork over $500 for a trip that's 6 months away. Janie appears in the doorway, backpack over her shoulder. Ready, Dad? Let's go. The drive to school is quiet until we're almost there. Then Janie speaks up, voice careful. Dad, are you and Mom getting divorced? The question hits me like a cold slap. Why would you ask that? Because you've been acting weird lately, and Mom's been staying late at work more often. And Beth keeps talking about how she'll choose to live with mom because she has more money. I pull into the school parking lot and turn to face my younger daughter. She's got Laura's intelligence, but none of her cruelty, and right now, she looks scared. Things are complicated right now, sweetheart, but whatever happens, you and Beth are the most important thing to me. That's never going to change. But you're not answering my question. Smart kid, too smart. I don't know what's going to happen, Janie. I wish I could give you a better answer than that. She nods, understanding more than any 15-year-old should have to. Just don't let her take everything, okay? I know what mom's like when she wants something. After dropping Janie off, I drive to Diana's office. Her practice is in a converted Victorian house near downtown, all polished wood and soft lighting designed to make nervous kids feel comfortable. The waiting room is empty except for a mother reading a magazine while her son plays on his phone. Dr. Walsh will see you in a moment, the receptionist says. Diana's office is professional but warm, with family photos on the desk and dental models scattered around like decorative sculptures. She looks up from her computer when I enter, and I can tell from her expression that she's been expecting me. Laura took the bait, she asks. Hook, line, and sinker. She's going to the bank this afternoon. Perfect. Have you thought about what comes next? I settle into the chair across from her desk. I've been thinking about a lot of things, like how to protect my business and make sure Janie doesn't get caught in the crossfire. And Beth? Beth's made her choice. She's 17, old enough to understand consequences. Diana nods. What about Scott? What about him? He's not just Laura's affair partner, Jason. He's her co-conspirator. I did some research after our coffee meeting yesterday. She turns her computer screen toward me. Scott Williams, age 34, divorced, runs Pinnacle Life Coaching out of the community center. But that's not his only business. The screen shows a website for something called Investment Mastery Seminars. Scott's photo is prominently displayed, along with testimonials from people who supposedly made thousands of dollars following his advice. Pyramid scheme, I ask? Worse. He's been taking money from clients for investment opportunities that don't exist. I found 3 complaints filed with the Better Business Bureau and at least 2 people threatening to sue him. How did you find all this? Diana's smile is sharp. I told you, I have a teenage daughter and an ex-husband. I've gotten very good at investigating people who lie for a living. She prints out several pages of documentation, complaints, financial records, screenshots of angry social media posts from Scott's former clients. It's a pattern of fraud that goes back at least 2 years. The question is, what do you want to do with this information? I study the papers, mind racing. Laura doesn't know about this? I doubt it. She's probably too busy planning your destruction to properly vet her boyfriend's business practices. And if this information happened to reach the right people, Scott's little empire would collapse overnight. Hard to be a homewrecker when you're dealing with fraud investigations and angry clients demanding their money back. I fold the papers and slip them into my jacket pocket. Diana, why are you helping me? And don't say it's just about Laura trying to hurt your practice 3 years ago. She leans back in her chair, considering the question. Because I've watched too many good people get destroyed by narcissists who think they're smarter than everyone else. Because I have a daughter who deserves to grow up in a world where actions have consequences. And because, she pauses, looking almost embarrassed. Because I like you, Jason. You're a decent man who's been taken for granted, and I think it's time someone was on your side for a change. The honesty in her voice catches me off guard. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. We're just getting started. That afternoon, I'm at the shop when Laura calls. Her voice is tight with barely controlled anger. Jason, we need to talk. Tonight, after the girls go to bed. Everything okay? Just be home by 8. She hangs up without saying goodbye. I spend the rest of the day wondering what she found in the safe deposit box. How she reacted when she opened that shoebox full of moldy chocolates. By the time I get home, Laura's pacing the living room like a caged animal. Beth's nowhere to be seen, probably upstairs on her phone, but Janie's doing homework at the kitchen table. Janie, go to your room, Laura says without preamble. I'm not done with my math homework. Now, Janie. My daughter looks at me and I nod. She gathers her books and disappears upstairs, but I notice she doesn't close her door all the way. Smart kid. Laura waits until she hears Janie's footsteps on the stairs, then turns to face me with fury in her eyes. Moldy chocolates, Jason? Moldy, awful chocolates? Language, I say mildly. Don't you dare. I spent 3 hours at that bank today, dealing with paperwork and security procedures, convinced your father had left us something valuable. And you knew. You knew it was just a box of rotten candy. I had no idea what was in there. Dad never told me. Bees, you're not that stupid, no matter what everyone thinks. Everyone thinks. Interesting choice of words. Who's everyone? Laura realizes her mistake immediately, but it's too late. The recorder in my pocket catches every word as she tries to backtrack. That's not what I meant. I'm just frustrated because I wasted an entire afternoon on nothing. I'm sorry you're disappointed. I know you were hoping for something more valuable. I wasn't hoping for anything. I just wanted to make sure we had a complete inventory of assets. Assets, right. I finish my beer and stand up. I'm going to check on Janie's homework. We're not done talking about this. Yes, we are. I head upstairs, leaving Laura fuming in the living room. Janie's door is cracked open, and I can see her sitting on her bed with her math book, but I know she was listening to every word. Need help with anything? I ask. I'm good, Dad, thanks. I'm about to leave when she speaks again, voice barely above a whisper. Dad? Those chocolates were from Grandma, weren't they? The ones she used to buy for special occasions. Yes, sweetheart, they were. Mom doesn't understand that some things are valuable even when they're not worth money. Out of the mouths of babes. No, she doesn't. Understand, though. I kiss the top of her head. I know you do. That's why you're my favorite. Don't let Beth hear you say that. Our secret. Downstairs, Laura's on the phone with someone, voice low and angry. I don't need to eavesdrop to know she's talking to Scott, probably complaining about the wasted afternoon and her husband's suspicious behavior. Let her complain. Let her think I'm just a lucky fool who happened to disappoint her treasure hunt. Tomorrow, I start phase 2. The next evening, I'm in my garage, working on a 1970 Mustang when I hear car doors slamming in the driveway. Through the window, I see Laura's BMW and Scott's Tesla parked side by side like they own the place. This should be interesting. I activate Diana's recorder and wait. Laura enters first, followed by Scott. He's exactly what I expected. Tall, artificially tan, wearing workout clothes that probably cost more than most people's rent. The kind of guy who takes selfies at the gym and calls it inspiring content. Jason, we need to have an adult conversation, Laura announces. About what? About our future. About what's best for everyone involved. Scott steps forward, all fake confidence and practiced charm. Hey, Jason, I know this is awkward, but I think we can handle this like mature adults. Handle what exactly? Laura and Scott exchange glances. They've rehearsed this scene probably multiple times. Laura takes a deep breath and delivers her prepared speech. Jason, I'm not happy in this marriage. I haven't been happy for years. We've grown apart, we want different things, and I think it's time we both admitted that we'd be better off with other people. Other people like Scott? Scott and I have developed feelings for each other, yes, but this isn't about him. This is about us, about the fact that we're not compatible anymore. I set down my wrench and really look at my wife of 20 years. She's nervous despite her preparation, fidgeting with her wedding ring, like she can't decide whether to throw it at me or hide it behind her back. How long? I ask. How long what? How long have you been sleeping with him? Scott clears his throat. Look, man, I know you're upset. I wasn't talking to you. My voice is calm, but something in my tone makes Scott take a step back. I was talking to my wife. How long, Laura? That's not important. What's important is that we handle this divorce civilly for the sake of the girls. The girls, right. Have you told them about Scott? We'll tell them together, when the time is right. When will that be? Before or after you try to take my business? Laura's mask slips for just a moment, revealing the calculating predator underneath. The business is a marital asset, Jason. We both have a claim to it. Funny thing about that, I started Fairburn Auto Detailing 3 years before we got married. Used money I saved from working 2 jobs and a loan from my father. Your name isn't on any of the incorporation papers. That doesn't matter. I supported you emotionally, I helped you network, You complained about the smell of car wax and told your friends I was just a mechanic who got lucky. Scott decides to play peacemaker again. Hey, let's not get bogged down in the past. The important thing is moving forward constructively. I turn to face him fully for the first time. Scott, right? The life coach? That's right. I help people unlock their potential and create the lives they deserve. Interesting. What kind of potential are you helping Laura unlock? Well, she's an incredibly talented attorney who's been held back by what? Scott realizes he's walking into a trap, but he's too arrogant to stop talking. By a relationship that doesn't challenge her intellectually or support her professional ambitions. So you're saying I'm stupid and unsupportive? I'm saying you and Laura want different things out of life. There's nothing wrong with that. What do you want out of life, Scott? I want to help people become their best selves. I want to build something meaningful with someone who shares my values. Values like honesty and integrity? Absolutely. I pull out my phone and show him Diana's research. Screenshots of the complaints against his business, the angry social media posts, the Better Business Bureau warnings. Tell me about investment mastery seminars. Scott's tan goes pale. Laura looks between us, confused. What is this? She asks. This is your boyfriend's other business. The one where he takes money from people for investment opportunities that don't exist. The one that's generated at least 6 fraud complaints in the past 2 years. Laura snatches my phone, scrolling through the evidence. Her face goes from confusion to horror to rage in about 30 seconds. Scott, what the heck is this? It's not what it looks like. Those people didn't follow the program correctly. They didn't have the right mindset for success. You took their money for fake investments. I provided coaching and guidance. If they chose to make poor financial decisions based on... Get out. Laura's voice is ice cold. What? Get out of my house. Get out of my driveway. Get out of my life. Scott looks genuinely shocked. Laura, baby, you don't understand. This guy is trying to manipulate you, trying to turn you against me because he's jealous. I said get out. Scott looks at me like this is somehow my fault, then storms toward the door. This isn't over, Jason. You think you're so smart, but you have no idea what you're dealing with. Actually, I think I do. After Scott leaves, Laura and I stand in my garage, surrounded by the tools of my trade and the wreckage of our marriage. She's still holding my phone, staring at the evidence of her boyfriend's criminal behavior. How long have you known about this? She asks finally. Does it matter? You let me make a fool of myself with a con artist. You've made a fool of yourself with a con artist. I just documented it. She throws my phone at me. I catch it easily. 20 years of marriage teaches you to anticipate projectiles. You bastard! You self-righteous, vindictive bastard. I'm vindictive. You've been planning to divorce me for months, trying to take my business, coaching our daughters to choose sides, and I'm vindictive because I found out who you're really sleeping with? That's different. That's just protecting my interests. Your interests. What about my interests? What about the girls' interests? The girls will be fine. They'll adjust. Beth might adjust. She's got your talent for landing on her feet. But Janie's going to blame herself for not being able to keep us together. She's going to think that if she'd been a better daughter, maybe Daddy wouldn't have left. You're not leaving. I'm leaving you. Same result for a 15-year-old kid who loves both her parents. For the first time since this conversation started, Laura looks genuinely uncomfortable. Janie will understand eventually. Will she? Or will she just learn that the people you love most are the ones most likely to betray you? Laura straightens her shoulders, rebuilding her defenses. I'm still filing for divorce, Jason. Scott was a mistake, but that doesn't change the fact that our marriage is over. I know, and I'm still going to fight for what I deserve. I know that too. Good, as long as we understand each other. She turns to leave, then pauses at the door. For what it's worth, I did love you once, before you became so small. 20 years of marriage, 2 kids, a business built from nothing, and I'm small because I didn't become the man she decided she wanted instead of the man she actually married. For what it's worth, Laura, I loved you too, before I realized you were incapable of loving anyone but yourself. She leaves without another word. I hear her BMW start up, then drive away into the Texas night, probably going to a hotel, or maybe to a girlfriend's house where she can play the victim and complain about her unreasonable husband. I turn off the recorder and look around my garage. Tomorrow, Laura will call her lawyer and start the process of trying to destroy me legally. She'll paint me as a harmful husband, a negligent father, a man who hid assets and controlled her through financial manipulation. She has no idea what's coming. I pull out my phone and call Diana. How did it go? She asks. Scott's out of the picture. Laura's doubling down on the divorce. Perfect. Are you ready for phase 3? I look at the Mustang I've been restoring, think about the satisfaction of taking something broken and making it beautiful again. Let's do this. 3 weeks later, I'm sitting in Claire Barnett's office downtown, listening to Laura's lawyer explain how she's going to destroy my life. Claire is exactly what I expected. Sharp suit, sharper smile, and the kind of confidence that comes from winning cases through intimidation rather than merit. Mr. Fairburn, my client is prepared to be reasonable, Claire says, sliding a folder across her polished desk. These are our initial settlement terms. I open the folder and scan the documents. Laura wants the house, half the business, primary custody of both girls, and alimony that would essentially make me her employee for the next decade. Reasonable, I repeat. Considering the circumstances, yes, Mrs. Staples Fairburn has documented a pattern of emotional misuse, financial control, and neglect of parental duties. She's prepared to testify that you've created a hostile home environment through your drinking and violent temper. My violent temper. She has witnesses who can attest to your aggressive behavior, your tendency to intimidate people through physical presence, and your complete disregard for your family's emotional needs. I set down the papers and look at Claire with genuine curiosity. Did Laura mention that she's been having an affair for the past 6 months? My client's personal relationships are not relevant to the question of asset division and custody. What about her boyfriend's criminal activities? Are those relevant? Claire's confidence wavers slightly. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Scott Williams, investment fraud, multiple complaints with the Better Business Bureau, at least 3 clients threatening to sue him for theft. I pull out my own folder, much thicker than hers. Would you like to see the documentation? Even if that were true, it has bearing on Laura's judgment. It has bearing on her claim that she deserves primary custody because she makes better decisions than I do. I spread Diana's research across Claire's desk. Complaint forms, financial records, and screenshots of angry social media posts from Scott's victims. Claire tries to maintain her poker face, but I can see her calculating how this information changes the game. Furthermore, I continue, I have recordings of Laura admitting that she's been planning this divorce for months while lying to me about the state of our marriage. I have evidence that she attempted to access financial accounts without my knowledge, and I have testimony from a reliable witness that Laura has been coaching our daughters to make statements that support her custody case. What kind of recordings? I pull out Diana's digital recorder and set it on the desk. Would you like to hear them? Claire stares at the device like it might explode. Any recordings made without consent would be inadmissible in court. Texas is a one-party consent state, counselor. As long as I'm part of the conversation, I can record it legally. I press play. Laura's voice fills the office. He doesn't suspect a thing, Scott. He's too busy with his greasy little business to notice what's right in front of him. Claire's face goes pale as the recording continues, capturing Laura's plans to take everything I've worked for while painting me as a harmful husband. When it ends, the office is silent, except for the hum of the air conditioning. This doesn't change anything, Claire says finally. My client is still entitled to equitable distribution of marital assets. Your client is entitled to what she brought to the marriage and what she legitimately contributed to during the marriage. She's not entitled to a business she spent 20 years telling people to be embarrassed about. The business increased in value during the marriage because I worked 60-hour weeks while Laura focused on her career, because I reinvested every penny of profit instead of buying luxury cars and designer clothes, because I built something from nothing while she complained about the smell of car wax on my hands. I stand up and gather my papers. Here's my counteroffer. Laura gets her personal belongings, her car, and half the value of the house. She gets visitation with the girls every other weekend. She gets nothing from the business, no alimony, and no claim on any assets that existed before our marriage. That's completely unreasonable? What's unreasonable is a woman who spent 6 months planning her husband's destruction while lying to his face every single day. What's unreasonable is trying to turn 2 teenage girls against their father to win a custody battle. What's unreasonable is claiming misuse when the only violence in our marriage has been Laura throwing things at me. Claire tries to recover her composure. We'll see you in court, Mr. Fairburn. I'm looking forward to it. That evening, I'm in my garage when Janie appears in the doorway. She's been quiet since Laura moved out, spending more time at friends' houses and less time talking to either of her parents. Dad, can we talk? Always. What's on your mind? She sits on my workbench, swinging her legs like she did when she was little. Mom came to school today. She wanted to take me to lunch and ask me some questions about living here with you. What kind of questions? About whether you drink too much. About whether you ever get angry and break things. About whether I feel safe here. My hands tighten on the wrench I'm holding. What did you tell her? I told her the truth. That you have a beer or two after work sometimes, but you're not a drunk. That you've never hit me or Beth or her. That the only time I don't feel safe is when she's here screaming at you. Janie, I'm not stupid, Dad. I know what she's trying to do. She wants me to say bad things about you so she can win in court. What did she say when you wouldn't cooperate? She got mad. She said I was being manipulated by you and that when I'm older, I'll understand that she was just trying to protect me. I set down my tools and really look at my younger daughter. She's growing up too fast, learning lessons about betrayal and manipulation that no 15-year-old should have to learn. I'm sorry you're caught in the middle of this. It's not your fault. Mom made her choices. Janie's voice is matter-of-fact, but I can see the hurt in her eyes. Beth's different, though. She really believes Mom's version of things. Beth's 17. She's old enough to make her own decisions about who she wants to live with, even if she chooses Mom. Even then, I won't fight your mother for custody of kids who don't want to be here. Janie nods, understanding. What about me? Do I get to choose? What do you want? I want to stay here. This is home. My friends are here. My school is here. And she pauses, looking embarrassed. And you need me. Mom doesn't need anyone. She just wants people around to make her feel important. You don't have to take care of me, sweetheart. I know, but I want to. We're a team, right? Right. The next morning, I'm at the shop when Diana calls. Have you seen the news? She asks. What news? Channel 8 is running a story about investment fraud in the coaching industry. Apparently, several of Scott's clients got together and filed a class action lawsuit. I turn on the television in my office. Sure enough, there's Scott's photo on the screen next to the headline, Local Life Coach Accused of Investment Scam. The reporter explains how Scott took money from clients for exclusive investment opportunities that turned out to be elaborate lies designed to fund his lifestyle. How did the news get this story? I ask. Someone might have sent them Diana's research along with contact information for Scott's victims, Diana says innocently. Someone? Someone who believes in accountability. On screen, one of Scott's victims is explaining how he lost his retirement savings following Scott's advice. Another woman describes how Scott convinced her to take out a second mortgage to invest in his guaranteed returns program. My phone rings. Laura. Did you do this? She demands without preamble. Do what? Don't play dumb. Scott's all over the news, and now there are FBI agents at his apartment. FBI agents? Investment fraud is a federal crime, Jason. If he goes to prison, it's going to look like I was involved. Were you involved? Of course not. But that won't matter if the media decides to dig into his personal life. My name will come up, my career will be ruined, and it'll all be your fault. My fault for exposing a criminal who was defrauding innocent people. Your fault for being vindictive and petty and... Laura, I have customers waiting. If you want to discuss this further, have Claire call me. I hang up and turn back to the television. Scott is being led away in handcuffs, still wearing his expensive workout clothes, but looking significantly less confident than he did in my garage 3 weeks ago. My phone rings again. This time it's Beth. Dad, what did you do? I protected your mother from making an even bigger mistake than she already made. By destroying her boyfriend? By exposing a criminal who was stealing money from people. Your mother is lucky she found out what kind of man Scott really was before she got in any deeper. She's humiliated. Everyone at her office is talking about it. Then maybe she'll think twice before having affairs with con artists. You're being cruel. I'm being honest. There's a difference. Beth hangs up on me, but I'm not surprised. She's Laura's daughter, through and through, more concerned with appearances than ethics. That evening, I'm having dinner with Janie when the doorbell rings. Through the window, I can see a police car in the driveway. Mr. Fairburn? The officer is young, probably new to the force. I'm Officer Martinez. I need to ask you some questions about Scott Williams. What about him? He claims you've been harassing him, stalking him, threatening him, interfering with his business. I invite Officer Martinez inside and offer him coffee. He accepts, which tells me this is more of a fishing expedition than a serious investigation. When did you last have contact with Mr. Williams? He asks. 3 weeks ago. He was at my house with my wife discussing their relationship. Did you threaten him at that time? I showed him evidence of his fraudulent business practices. He became upset and left. What kind of evidence? I show Officer Martinez the same documentation I showed Claire, the complaints, the financial records, the angry social media posts. He studies the papers carefully. Where did you get this information? Public records. Better Business Bureau complaints are available to anyone who asks. Mr. Williams says you hired a private investigator to dig up dirt on him. Mr. Williams is facing federal fraud charges. I suspect he's looking for someone to blame for his problems besides himself. Officer Martinez finishes his coffee and stands up. Mr. Fairburn, I have to ask, do you have any plans to contact Mr. Williams in the future? Officer Martinez, I have a business to run, a divorce to navigate, and 2 daughters who need their father to be focused on what matters. Scott Williams is the least of my concerns. After the officer leaves, Janie looks at me with something approaching awe. Dad, did you really bring down Mom's boyfriend? I exposed a criminal who was stealing money from innocent people. What your mother chooses to do with that information is up to her. You're kind of scary when you want to be. Only to people who deserve it, sweetheart. Only to people who deserve it. 2 months later, I'm sitting in family court watching Laura's case fall apart in real time. She looks professional in her navy suit and understated jewelry. But I can see the desperation in her eyes as Claire tries to salvage what's left of their strategy. Your Honor, Claire says, despite recent revelations about Mr. Williams, my client's concerns about Mr. Fairburn's fitness as a parent remain valid. We have testimony that he has anger management issues, that he drinks excessively, and that he has created an unstable home environment. Judge Patricia Hendricks, a no-nonsense woman in her 60s, looks unimpressed. Counselor, the only testimony you have comes from your client and her 17-year-old daughter. Meanwhile, Mr. Fairburn has provided character references from teachers, business associates, neighbors, and his younger daughter. Your Honor, children often side with the parent who places fewer restrictions on their behavior. Are you suggesting that 15-year-old Janie Fairburn is lying under oath to avoid parental discipline? Claire realizes she's walked into a trap. No, Your Honor. I'm simply saying that children aren't always the best judges of what's in their own best interests. Unlike adults who have affairs with con artists and then try to claim the moral high ground in custody disputes, I have to bite my lip to keep from smiling. Judge Hendricks has clearly done her homework. My lawyer, David Chen, stands up. Your Honor, we'd like to present additional evidence that speaks to Mrs. Staples Fairburn's judgment and credibility. He plays excerpts from my recordings. Laura planning my destruction, coaching Beth on what to say in court, admitting that she never loved me and only married me for financial security. The courtroom is silent, except for Laura's voice explaining how she's going to take everything I've worked for. When the recording ends, Judge Hendricks looks at Laura with undisguised disgust. Mrs. Staples Fairburn, you recorded these conversations without your client's knowledge? I recorded conversations I was part of, Your Honor. Texas law allows single-party consent recording. And you made these recordings while planning to file false claims of misuse against your husband? Laura's composure finally cracks. They weren't false claims. He is emotionally harsh. He's controlling and manipulative, and, ma'am, I've heard testimony from multiple witnesses that contradicts every claim you've made. I've seen evidence that you spent months planning this divorce while lying to your husband about your intentions. I've reviewed financial records that show you attempted to access business accounts without authorization. Claire tries to interrupt. Your Honor, if we could focus on the best interests of the children. The best interests of the children are served by placing them with the parent who hasn't spent the last 6 months teaching them that dishonesty and manipulation are acceptable ways to get what you want. Judge Hendricks reviews her notes, then delivers her ruling. Custody of Janie Fairburn is awarded to her father, with visitation rights to the mother every other weekend. Beth Fairburn, as a 17-year-old, may choose her own living arrangements. The marital home will be sold and proceeds divided equally. Mrs. Staples Fairburn will receive no claim on Fairburn Auto Detailing, as it was established prior to the marriage using premarital assets. No alimony will be awarded. Laura looks like she's been slapped. Your Honor, this is completely unreasonable. I have a right to... Ma'am, you have the right to appeal this decision if you choose. You do not have the right to lecture this court about fairness after the behavior you've demonstrated. Outside the courthouse, Laura confronts me in the parking lot. She's crying now, mascara running down her cheeks, looking nothing like the composed attorney who walked in this morning. You destroyed my life, she says. You destroyed your own life. I just made sure everyone could see what you really are. Beth won't even talk to me. She's humiliated that her friends know about Scott. Beth's 17. She'll figure out eventually that image isn't everything. And Janie? Janie will have visitation with you every other weekend, assuming you show up. You turned my own daughters against me. I told them the truth. You're the one who decided the truth was your enemy. Laura wipes her eyes, trying to pull herself together. This isn't over, Jason. Yes, it is. You lost. Accept it and move on. I'll appeal. I'll find new evidence. With what money? Your boyfriend's in federal prison. Your reputation is destroyed and you just lost the biggest case of your career. Who's going to hire you now? She stares at me like she's seeing me for the first time. You're not the man I married. No, I'm not. The man you married was naive enough to think you actually loved him. The man you married believed that people could change, that marriage was about partnership instead of conquest. That man's gone, Laura. You ended him. I walk away, leaving her standing in the courthouse parking lot. In my rearview mirror, I can see her crying alone, probably for the first time in years. That evening, Diana comes over for dinner. She and Janie have become friends over the past few months, bonding over their shared experience of dealing with narcissistic family members. Diana's ex-husband tried to stop paying child support when he found out she was helping me, but a quick call to his employer resolved that problem. So what happens now? Diana asks as we clean up the dishes. Now I focus on being a good father to Janie and rebuilding my relationship with Beth, if that's possible. And Laura? Laura will land on her feet eventually. People like her always do. She'll find another man to manipulate, another situation to exploit. The only difference is that now people know what she's capable of. Janie appears in the kitchen doorway, backpack over her shoulder. Dad, I'm going to study at Sarah's house. Her mom's driving me home later. Have fun, sweetheart. After Janie leaves, Diana and I sit on the back porch watching the sun set over our suburban neighborhood misses. Sanders is watering her garden, probably listening to every word we say, but I don't care anymore. Let her gossip. Let the whole neighborhood know that Jason Fairburn isn't the pushover they thought he was. Do you ever feel guilty? Diana asks. About what? About destroying Scott's business. About humiliating Laura in court. About turning Beth against her mother. I consider the question seriously. I feel guilty about Beth. She's 17 and she's going to spend the rest of her life knowing that her mother is a liar and a manipulator. That's going to affect every relationship she ever has. And Laura? Laura made her choices. She chose to have an affair. She chose to plan my destruction. She chose to try to turn our daughters against me. I just made sure there were consequences for those choices. And Scott? Scott was stealing money from innocent people. He deserved everything he got. Diana nods, understanding. 3 years ago, when Laura tried to destroy my practice, I've fantasized about revenge, but I never had the courage to actually do anything about it. What changed? I met someone who was willing to fight back, someone who showed me that bullies only win when good people do nothing. She leans over and kisses me, soft and warm and full of promise. It's the first time I've been kissed by someone who actually wants to kiss me in longer than I can remember. So what happens with us? I ask. I don't know. We take it slow, we see where it goes, and we don't make any promises we can't keep. Sounds reasonable? I'm a reasonable woman, Jason. That's why Laura hates me so much. We sit in comfortable silence, watching the stars come out over Texas. Tomorrow, I'll go back to my shop and continue building the business that Laura tried to take away. I'll help Janie with her homework and try to convince Beth that her father isn't the monster her mother painted him to be. I'll be a good man, a decent father, and a loyal friend to the people who deserve it. But I'll never again be the naive fool who trusted someone to love him just because he loved them back. Laura taught me that lesson, and I learned it well. 6 months later, I'm at Beth's high school graduation, watching my older daughter receive her diploma. She's been living with her mother in a downtown apartment, but she's started talking to me again, slowly rebuilding the relationship that Laura tried to destroy. Laura's there too, sitting 3 rows behind me with her new boyfriend, another lawyer from her firm who probably has no idea what he's gotten himself into. She looks older, harder, like the past year has aged her in ways that makeup can't hide. After the ceremony, Beth finds me in the parking lot. Dad, can we talk? Always. We sit in my truck while families celebrate around us. Beth's grown up a lot in the past year, lost some of the entitled attitude that used to drive me crazy. I owe you an apology, she says. You don't owe me anything. Yes, I do. I believed Mom's lies about you. I said terrible things. I took her side when I should have stayed neutral, and I let her use me as a tool against you. You were 17 and your parents were getting divorced. You did the best you could with the information you had. The information was wrong. Some of it, yeah. Mom's not happy, you know. With her new boyfriend, with her job, with anything. She keeps talking about how you ruined her life, but I think she ruined it herself. Your mother made choices, Beth. We all have to live with the consequences of our choices. What about me? What are the consequences of my choices? I look at my older daughter, seeing Laura's intelligence, but hoping for something better underneath. That depends on what you choose to do next. I want to come home, not permanently, but for visits. I want to get to know you again. The real you, not the version Mom created in her head. I'd like that. And I want to apologize to Janie. I was horrible to her during the divorce. She'll forgive you. That's the kind of person she is. Beth nods, wiping her eyes. Dad, are you happy now? I think about the question. Diane and I have been dating for 6 months, taking it slow like she suggested. Janie's thriving in school and seems to have adjusted well to our new normal. My business is doing better than ever, probably because I'm not spending all my energy pretending my marriage isn't falling apart. Yes, sweetheart, I think I am. Good. You deserve to be happy. As we drive home, I think about the man I was 2 years ago, naive, trusting, willing to believe that love was enough to overcome any obstacle. That man got his heart broken and his life nearly destroyed by someone he trusted completely. But that man also raised 2 daughters who turned out to be decent human beings despite their mother's influence. That man built a successful business from nothing and earned the respect of his community through hard work and integrity. That man survived betrayal and came out stronger on the other side. Maybe Laura was right about one thing. I'm not the man she married. I'm better. That evening, I'm in my garage working on a classic Camaro when Janie appears in the doorway. Dad, Diana's here. She brought dinner. Tell her I'll be right in. Dad? Janie's voice is careful. Are you going to marry her? I don't know, sweetheart. Maybe someday. Would that bother you? No. She makes you happy and she's nice to me. That's all I care about. What about Beth? Beth likes her too. She said Diana's the opposite of Mom. She actually listens when people talk. I clean my hands and head inside where Diana's setting the table while talking to Beth on speakerphone. My older daughter is telling her about graduation, about her plans for college, about her hopes for rebuilding our family relationships. This is what happiness looks like, I realize. Not the dramatic passion that Laura and I mistook for love, but quiet contentment with people who actually care about each other's well-being. Later that night, after Diana goes home and Janie's asleep, I sit in my garage thinking about the past 2 years. Laura tried to destroy me, and instead she destroyed herself. Scott tried to con his way into my family's life and ended up in federal prison. Beth chose her mother's lies over her father's truth and learned a hard lesson about the consequences of betrayal. But I survived. More than that, I won. Not because I'm smarter than Laura or stronger than Scott or more manipulative than any of them. I won because I refused to let them turn me into something I'm not. I fought back when I had to, but I never became the villain they tried to paint me as. I think about calling Laura, maybe trying to make peace for the sake of our daughters. But then I remember her voice on that first recording. He doesn't suspect a thing. I remember her plan to take everything I'd worked for while painting me as a harmful husband. I remember the look in her eyes when she realized I wasn't going to roll over and let her destroy me. Some people don't deserve forgiveness. Some people don't deserve second chances. Some people deserve exactly what they get, no more and no less. Laura Staples Fairburn got exactly what she deserved. And Jason Fairburn got the last laugh.